Just another brother with another humble question. Just another brother with another humble question.
Welcome to A Brother with Questions. I am your host, B.Period, and I appreciate you for joining me. We're going to dive in. Before we dive in, though, let me ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. Just hit that little like button, and then make sure you share it. Share it with your friends, share it with your family. Let them know what you're listening to. Man, this thing right here is on fire right now. Former President Barack Obama was speaking to a group of black men, and he had this to say.
And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting down? But, because of Putin, and you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, I'm speaking to men directly, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for it. And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude, I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And when we get in trouble, and the system's not working for us, they're the ones who are out there marching and protesting. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down.
So that's a little excerpt of what he had to say. There's a piece too right before that where he talks about the fact that she looks like you, she grew up in the same places as you, she went to the same HBCUs, went to an HBC like you, and so, yeah, as a black man, how could you not be supporting this black woman? And so a lot of people have been responding to it. One of the best responses I saw, though, there's two that I'm going to share, but this one right here by Nina Turner. Now don't get it twisted. I don't know if you know who Nina Turner is, but she is, I don't think she currently holds a seat in the Ohio Congress, but she at least used to, and she's certainly been an advocate over the last few years. Certainly she talks about how she's been an advocate for Obama. She was certainly on the Bernie Sanders train when Bernie was trying to become president. And so we're talking about a person who's clearly, without shadow of a doubt, Democratic. Let's hear what she has to say.
Going to be going out on a mentor, literally a tour of media to appeal to men. they need to appeal to the needs of the voters. And so when I was a delegate for President Obama in both of his elections in Ohio, right now the vice president is down 11 points in Ohio, even though I fully expect President Trump to take Ohio as he did twice, but to be down 11 points compared to President Biden, that is a problem. But this other issue I want to bring up is a problem too. Why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out black men is wrong. And some of the black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men who by and large don't vote much differently from black women. And why? As a politician, we should be trying to get all voters to vote. And hopefully there are a few good men out there who do care about the stripping away of some of women's bodily autonomy. But this is wrong for President Obama. It is a wrong course for the Harris-Walz campaign to lay at the feet of black men when they have their reasons. In 2020, the vice president was labeled a cop, as we know.
But do you think, sorry to interrupt you, Nina, but do you think he's right that one of the reasons is because they don't like the idea of...
It might be some... Listen, black men are socialized in the same society as any other man. So yes, is misogyny maybe a part of it? But again, is President Obama and is the Harris-Walz campaign going to lecture other male groups in the same way that they're lecturing?
This is not just about...
I don't think so.
It's not just about Pennsylvania. It's not just about men.
You know they're gonna cover. But I love how she took the time to acknowledge the truth, man. Let's get this thing straight. Are there some black men who are not going to vote for Vice President Harris? There are. But can we stop pretending like black men by a whole don't vote for the Democratic Party to the tune of at least 90%? Sometimes 95%? Why is it that we're pretending like black men are some voting bloc that doesn't choose Democratic? By and large, we still choose Democratic. Now, is this year about to be an aberration? And we're about to see the explosion of black men voting for former President Donald Trump? I say it like this. I'll believe it when I see it. But what I agree with is this notion that because black men are choosing, maybe, because the vote ain't happened yet, but because black men are at least having the conversation, let's say it like that, to say that I don't know if Vice President Harris is the person that I want to vote for. How is that any different from the rest of the country? Why is that so significant? Why is it a necessary thing that the black men have to support Vice President Harris because her skin is dark? And this coming from a former president who, when he was running, wanted to run on the idea that please don't vote for me just because I'm black. Listen to my policy. Now, he didn't really have one because he ran in hope and change, but he was about listening to his policies. But now that it's Trump, now you need to vote for her because, she looks like you. She went to the same schools like you. She has the same skin color as you. Why would you not vote for her? And then to suggest that it's all because she's a woman. That's just so simplistic. It's offensive. It's so simplistic. It is just offensive. Can we not discuss the fact that this is the same woman who, when she ran for president, didn't like fracking?
It sounds like there's a concern that there's a broad problem for Vice President.
This is the same woman who, when she ran for president, didn't like fracking. Now that she's vice president, she loves fracking. The same woman, when she ran for president, she wanted to make it easier for immigrants to be able to cross the border illegally and then obtain citizenship. Now that she's vice president, now she wants to be tough. This is the same woman who suggested that we should pay for illegal immigrants who are coming across the border. If they needed transgender surgery, we should help fund transgender surgeries for them. Now, I don't know where she stands on that because they haven't brought that one back up to her face yet. But my point is, at every turn, this woman has changed her policy opinions simply based on the idea that, my values haven't changed, but over time I have realized that the people, come on, you got to do better than that. You got to do better than that. This is the same woman who in this campaign hasn't even acknowledged that she spent her teenage years in Canada. When you listen to her talk, you would think she grew up her entire life in the United States. And for me, I'm not even going to hold that against her, that, her mom moved her to Canada. She was born here. She was raised here up until I think around the age 11 or 12. But then she ultimately spent depending on, how they do school up there, let's say her 7th, 8th grade year, all the way up to graduation in high school. And even I found out maybe a year or two in college in Canada. And then she came here and then went to Howard and then eventually graduated from Howard. But those are significant years in your life, 12 to 18. So for you not to acknowledge them and then to talk to us as if you spent your entire time in the United States, what are you hiding is what I'm trying to ask. Because again, it's your life. You wrote about it in your book. So why won't you talk about it on the campaign? It clearly had to have an influence on you. Why won't you speak on it? So rather than talk about these clear issues that people have with her own character, we'll drum up the guy and talk about his character. He's a racist. Really? Yeah, he's the same racist that probably donated had donated for over probably 15, 20 years of his life, registered a Democrat and donated to Democrats, donated to Vice President Harris's campaign when she was running for Attorney General in California. He's a racist, though. Same man who helped fund Jesse Jackson's campaign for president. But he's a racist, though. The same man who partied around with the black celebrities in New York, tried to get him to stay at his buildings for the clout that it would bring to his building. But he's a racist, though. The same man that Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton took pictures with for over 20 years in New York. But he's a racist, though. It's this new racism that they claiming. The kind of racism that takes advantage of the clout and the culture of black people. What kind of racism is that? What kind of racism is it to fund the campaign of a black man to run for president? What kind of racist does that? What kind of racist funds the Attorney General when she's running as a Democrat in California? What kind of racist does that? How racist could he be and do all those things? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And you got to do a different playbook, former President Barack Obama. I thought you were better than this. It all comes back to you black and she black for you, bruh. Give me a break, man. If this is all y'all got to push Vice President Harris over the hump to become president, you know what that tells me? Y'all ain't got nothing. Because she's flailing as a candidate, because she doesn't know how to answer a question. And now, here comes their black their favorite black president. And he's pushed it all back down to you're black and she's black. This is all y'all got? Donald Trump gonna be president again. And I'm out.